through the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it is back to have a look at the repair cost changes that have been implemented in the game this week, and now we're going to talk about Italy and how wonderful the repair cost changes actually are for Italy. For France, it was kind of a mixed bag. The jets got a little bit of a reduced price and a big buff when it came to the amount of multipliers they have. With Italy, it just overall seems pretty positive, with some ones which still need to be talked about. So overall, if we look at the Italian planes, you can see there's a hell of a lot of negatives here, showing that a lot of the repair costs going down. Some of the big winners are stuff like the G55 Series 1, which is going down by 8,900. That might be one of the largest reductions that we've seen, pulling it down to 12,600. So it is still quite an expensive plane, but as I've said many times, the Italian aircraft in this game are a wonderful mix of energy fighting and turning, and overall they are really simple to use, especially when you get to like the rank 3 and 4 area. So with the Italians, basically once you hit the C202 all the way to the G56, all of these aircraft are wonderful. So seeing their repair costs be increased and decreased is not really a surprise to me, because they're always going to be good, so you're going to have to balance them in some other ways. You can't put them at too high of a BR because their engines aren't powerful enough, so therefore you've got to find some other ways. So as I said, the G55 Series 1 going down to 12,600. This is this aircraft here with the 3 20mm and the 2 12.7s. It also has a really nice reward on it, as you can see, 3.7 multiplier, but it fully upgraded, you are still paying 16,000 silver lines for this. So this is still an expensive aircraft to run, but it is still a really good aircraft. You can easily make a profit in this thing, and as you can see, I'm 27 and 10 with it, with a positive win rate overall. So with that, a lot of the Italian aircraft for me are like that. So having a reduced repair cost is wonderful. Hopefully this means that a lot of people who haven't played Italians before can get into it and actually start playing it. But the other one, which is still incredibly high, which has also been increased after this update, is the G56. The G56 is still getting pounded in the JAXI, and it is now up to 25,000 25,000 repair costs. So every time you fly this thing, even though it has a 3.7 multiplier on it, the multiplier on it is exactly the same as the Series 1. So there is no reason to fly this thing unless it is better at its BR than the Series 1. Now the G56 is a good aircraft. It is one of the best propeller aircraft for its BR in the game. With its 3 20mm, the MG151's doing really well. The fact that it has access to secondary weapons, like a lot of the Italian aircraft, means that it's useful in a different way in ground forces, and on top of everything, it is a rank 4 aircraft, so using it to grind out all of the jets, which there are only 3 right now, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get more in the future, it is a great catch, to use. It's fast, it's maneuverable, it has everything, but 31,000 max repair cost when it's actually, fully upgraded is still crazy, right? It's still way up there compared to the rest. So even though a lot of stuff like the G91R1, that's gone down by 7,200, both of these are at 3.2 and 3.0 SL gain respectively, so they're going down in, they're going down in cost, so they'll be a lot more profitable. There is only a few aircraft here which I would class are not very profitable, and the G56 would definitely be one of them. The F-84 as well that is going down by 8,100, so nearly halving in price. But something else that does have to take into account, the multiplier was cut by 1 as well, so it went from like 3.7 or around that area to 2.7. So you're going to be making less silver lines in this thing per action, but at the same time, it's half the damn repair cost. Like, I would take that. I would take that ratio. When it comes to the other stuff, though, also the BF-109 G14 got lowered as well. The majority of them did get lowered, so collectively, this is great for Italy. You've just got to watch out for the problem children, and the problem children are, of course, the G56. You know, the one we just talked about, the one which just got dropped, the G55 Series 1. Even though it got dropped by a lot, you've still got to make sure to make a profit in the damn thing. But there are other aircraft here which are also dropped a lot. So a lot of the premium ones have been dropped. So if you haven't flown your premiums in a long time and actually want to grind through the Italian tree, this would be a time to do it. On top of this, a lot of the bombers also got dropped, but not by huge amounts. You know, the biggest amount here being the 1300 for the P108B Series 2. To be quite honest, the P108A Series 2 should be probably at a repair cost which equals 0, but as you can see, it's at 865, right? So compared to its fighter counterparts, 5,419 or 8,000 or 7,000, the Series 2 I mean, no wonder. I mean, it's definitely not appearing well in the game, is it? So yeah, that's that's a really low repair cost. You can see right here that even stock, its repair cost is 324. So if you want to melt your brain and actually make silver lines at a pretty good canter, the P108A Series 2 is the way to go. But it will be depressing to do, so I wouldn't advise it. Overall, for the planes for Italy, this is amazing, right? This is amazing across the board, and it means that you should make a ton of silver lines while playing them. The tanks, on the other hand, are a little bit more balanced, where we have some going up, some going down, and the main thing about tanks, like I talked about in the French video, the multipliers, as you can see, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. The maximum multiplier seems to be 1.5 for tanks, and I really don't like this. I hope that at some point this is changed, because even though it does mean that it's all standardized, or it's very similar to each other, so you can kind of compare them, it does mean that I think it's a wasted opportunity, where if you do have a really average, or maybe a vehicle which fits a BR but does not fit a meta, if that makes sense. So like, if it's not a medium tank or a heavy tank, maybe it's a little weird tank destroyer, but you know for a fact that with its gun and with its reload, it should be at a specific BR. You could definitely balance it through reward multipliers, right? But instead, everything just seems to have the same in ground forces. Maybe it's to make it more simple for people, I'm not exactly sure, but it just seems a bit odd. Now, alongside the battle rating changes, a lot of the battle rating changes seem to follow the repair cost changes. So as you can see, the R3 T106FA, the machine, the go-kart, which went up to 7.0, the repair cost on it also went up by 2,200. If we look at the Centauro, which also increased, this is going up as well, 1,690, so now it's at 5,100 stock. The Centauro Row More is surprisingly cheap for a top-tier vehicle. But then you've got to realize one of the issues that the Centauro Row More has, alongside a lot of other vehicles at its BR, is it's going to constantly get dragged up into 10.0. So because this thing is going to get dragged up into 10.0, it's always going to be at an inherent disadvantage, at least by the battle rating system. So the way to combat that is obviously with a low repair cost. And since it does have a low repair cost, therefore I can understand people taking it into the battle. The Semaventes and the lower tier stuff have generally gone down as well by a decent chunk, with a few things increasing once again. The OF40 Mark IIA going up to 6,600, but for a 8.7 vehicle, this is still very cheap. So 6,600 on this one. If we look at the Germans, you go to the Leopard A1A1, 5,720. That's also pretty cheap, but if you go to the Leopard 1A1, they've actually fixed the repair cost on it. Never mind. Maybe I'm just talking jacksy, who knows. I thought the 8.7 repair costs were not very kind. Oh well. Well, maybe they are. Never mind then. It seems to be kind of standard, maybe slightly higher. Well, actually no, it looks kind of standard for what it is right now. We'll have to see what it is during upgrade. So it's actually gone from quite a low estimate, which some of the German tanks are at. Now it's a little bit higher. One of the things about the OF-40 though, that you do have to take into account, like you do with the Leopards and stuff like that, you've got rounds which are really good, but they're also quite expensive. So 820 on an APFS DS round is something you're going to have to consider. You know, do I want to throw the kitchen sink at something and pay out the wazoo, or do I want to just kind of chill and hammer down with some heat or with some standard Sabo? The Semaventes, they've gone down in BR and also gone down in repair, but most of them it doesn't really matter too much. The M36 as well going down, you know, because it also went down in BR. So a lot of these machines here are getting either, if they went up in BR, you know, they're increasing in repair cost. If they went down in BR, they're decreasing in repair cost. It seems to be a standard thing across the board, so that's nice for Italy. Generally, I don't see anything that really stands out here, apart from the R3T106, as I said before. And also, if we look at the R3T20, this going up in BR, only gaining 320. The Saddam going down by 1,790, which I can also kind of understand, because the issue with the Saddam, right? So you have the 10 free repairs on any vehicle after purchasing it, putting in your crew. You have 10 free drive-outs where you don't have to pay for repair. Now, the problem with the Saddam is your default belt has 3mm of pen. So you're completely useless against other vehicles when it comes to the ground, and you're only useful against the air stuff. They've also taken away its radar-guided system, so therefore all you have is 3mm of pen to destroy, you know, incoming planes. So you have to, in 10 games, be able to get your parts FPE, one of these, and then also the M791 round in order to be able to do damage to tanks. And that's just really not going to happen. So lowering its repair and then maybe increasing it once it's fully upgraded would make a lot of sense to me when it comes to this machine, and I feel like that's what they've done. If they've kept the max repair the same as before or lower, then also that's great, because we do need to try and get people to use different vehicles which aren't just medium tanks in the game. So overall for Italy, this is really good. You know, there is a few bad spots here and there for certain vehicles, but overall, this is wonderful. You know, repair costs have completely gone down. It seems like the reward multipliers haven't changed, or the only one that has changed significantly is the F84 one, but the repair cost has gone down significantly to match it. So overall, this is great. You know, there's no like, oh my god, what is this? Or, oh Jesus, I can't play this vehicle anymore. The G56 is still crazy expensive, but you can still play it. It's still a really good vehicle. So I would just say with Italy, it's now more of a money maker. You can still use pretty much all the vehicles you could use before, and that's great. You know, that's what you want from a system like this. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.